I'm pleased to announce that all 4 remaining clubs, Essendon, Hawthorn, Port Adelaide and the Sydney Swans, will join the NAB AFLW women's competition in 2022, ready for season 7.
Pretty exciting news today. How are you feeling?
So excited for our fans and our family and friends to finally be part of the AFLW. It has been in the pipeline for a while, and I think the best part about it is that the evolution and the shift in the footy club and how important it is for the club to have a complete family. So I just grew up in footy and was always around it right from a little kid. And used to get a free sausage for running the scoreboard, and I used to be around my grandparents and all the other kids at Dad's footy games. So I played with my brother's team as much as I could, until about the age of 13, and there wasn't a competition for girls. It's a story as old as time, really. And so I got into umpiring, ended up umpiring 187 first grade games in the AFL Canberra competition, and eventually turned to coaching. When I was coaching at Woodville West Torrens, I was approached by the Adelaide Football Club to interview for the head coach role of the AFLW team, their inaugural AFLW team. I was working for the Australian Federal Police and got transferred as a sergeant of the Joint Anti-Child Exploitation Team, which is a joint initiative between South Australia Police and the Australian Federal Police. And I got involved with footy, as soon as I got over there. I was working shift work at the time and trying to do my first ever pre-season at an AFL club. I had only ever coached with a whiteboard and a bit of a look of how the players were looking at the time. Oh yeah, that's enough, they look a bit tired, we'll stop that drill. To going with a drone above my head at training, having a camera in my face, having GPS units on their backs. And then of course in Adelaide there was media pressure, as well as the fact that Adelaide people are so passionate about their footy and want to be involved with their footy club. So it was a brand new way of living for me, especially after we started to win a few games and the pressure started to build. I became completely obsessed with football. There's no other way to put it. I had a big whiteboard in my kitchen. I had post-it notes all over the house. I would send myself text messages to remind myself to speak to certain players, because it was the only way I could keep on top of everything that I needed to do to create, at the time, what I felt to create a winning environment and get the best out of the players. I didn't celebrate that first big win of mine enough. I didn't take the time to sit back and look at that inaugural premiership and go, wow, that was a pretty big achievement. Things really weren't going great for me. Over that off-season, after winning the inaugural premiership, I started to put on a bit of weight. I wasn't looking after myself. I became paranoid about what people were thinking about me. I felt that my coaching was being critiqued and looked at a lot more closely than what my male counterparts were being looked at. Now, whether that was real or not, that was how I felt. And it wasn't until I had one of my colleagues at the footy club say to me, hey, let's go out for a coffee. And we sat down and he said, are you okay? Do you want to come to the gym and work out with me? That I thought to myself, oh, maybe I'm not okay. There really weren't any other women around that I felt like I could lean on. I started to do things for myself. I would ride my bike to football training. I would ride my bike to work. So I would take time for myself. I put my phone down. I would go to the movies and leave my phone in the car, just so I didn't have my phone constantly pinging. I stopped reading direct messages on social media. Those are the things that I did to make sure I could get back on the right track. Back at that time when I left Adelaide, I was just stuck, and I didn't know how I was going to grow. I didn't know how I was going to get better. I didn't know how I was going to stay in the sport, and I just didn't think that there was an opportunity for me. Eventually, took a couple of years out of footy and ended up at the AIS in their high performance coaching program, where I met a great group of women who were all on that same journey as me in different sports. We all got to share our own journeys and talk about why we coached and where we wanted to be. But meeting that group of women and being able to lean on them and use them as mentors really helped me decide where I wanted to be, and that was back in footy. It's pretty cool. I remember as a kid going out, I'm a Hawthorn supporter, have been all my life. But I remember going out to Waverley and watching a Collingwood-Hawthorn game, and we lost the car out at Waverley, and we spent 2 hours at the end of the game trying to find the car in the car park out at Waverley. And so now to be working and being out there, I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait. Like the next 2 years, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm really excited to be back in footy and looking forward to having a few sneaky wins where I can at Hawthorn.